You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Monday. Yeah.
Coffee.
Coffee it is, man.
Does the body good.
Got my second bowl going. I always have to have that first bowl before I even feel like articulating anything out loud.
I got up a little late this morning.
No.
And I was just like, so I was just going to have to take coffee on the go, because usually I have time to just sit there and kind of soak
Like
it
to
up
relax.
and relax in the morning. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, I got to get the big cup this morning. It's coming with me.
Well, cheers, man.
Yeah,
Coffee
cheers.
I guess we don't really have the coffee cheers, but you're right. Usually I'm the one always still sucking down the coffee all day long. And,
It's just how I like to do things. I like to be there in the moment, already kind of ready to go before it's time.
I
That's
guess
just-
for me, it's the warm-up cup, and then the second one's like the real deal,
Fair enough, yeah.
I don't know.
So, conversationally,
Yeah?
well, I kind of pitched that idea, I don't even remember what I called it last week because of weird news of sorts that aren't video game related. So
Right.
instead, I thought, what are we thinking? How about that? Instead, kind of like, what are we playing? What are we thinking? What are we thinking about?
What am I thinking about?
What are we thinking about? Because there were
Dang.
two things that I saw this week that I thought were worth talking about.
Okay.
And I was thinking about them because, what am I thinking? I'm thinking about these things.
Thinking, man? Yeah.
So what do you think? Because I was thinking about, what do you think about the Cineworld closing Regal Cinemas across the U.S. and all their things? Do you think this is the end of the theater? Because that's been the big headline. With this
Yeah.
happening, they're like, doom and gloom. No, theaters are dead.
I mean, it is sad, though. Like, just the more and more that I see brick and mortar anything starting to come to a close just really kind of makes me sad, because it does feel like the end of an era in some regards, right? Where you got to go sit along other people, react to the movies along with it, whether they annoyed you or not. It was still more fun. You got kind of caught up in the moment, especially like if it was those big blockbuster hits that just really get you excited, I mean, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I know I'm not ready to go to a theater yet, and they've been closed for so long. It's kind of understandable because how much profit did a theater truly make, even operational 100%? Because we know
Right.
they weren't really getting those ticket sales. So, it does make me sad. But I'm also that person where I'm like, I'm not really ready to go sit in a crowded theater. And a lot of the theaters by me have already made the decision years ago to take out a lot of the stadium seating and put in those recliner seats. So they were already less seating than there was, I feel like it's one of those things that's been slowly declining for a while. And then unfortunately, the pandemic might be what's putting the nail in its coffin. I don't think we'll see them gone for good.
No, I think, take a look at the drive-in. The drive-in was thought dead, and now they're making a resurgence. They're making a comeback.
Yeah.
I've talked about the one near our house, and I like going to it. I haven't gone to it since the pandemic. They're being very careful about, they're open now. They're showing older movies, which, if you want to do that, I guess for me, I'm not going to go pay for something at a theater that I either own or have seen, unless there is a really, really good reason. Like there was, and this this would have been amazing, but I wanted someone there who I could share it with. That's why I was like you, and there was even an old buddy of mine. He would have died if he'd have seen it. It was like a grindhouse double feature of Evil Dead 1 and 2.
See, total fun though.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you've seen them before, being around other people who are complete sycophants for it actually makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I want to go see if I'm going to do these experiences, because that's not something I ever had the opportunity to see on a big screen.
Same here.
The idea, the idea of the experience at the time, that's different. Like I would love to see Jaws on the big screen. Like because I've seen like every time there's a new edition that comes out, I'm a sucker for it, and I'm just like, I gotta get this because this is the best. They cleaned it up. They've just made it look so much better and more pristine. It's always a great movie, and that would be one I'd love to see on a gigantic screen. The best theater I could possibly find, but I've just not had the opportunity. So something like that would be in that regard. I'm like you. I don't think they're gone for good. I don't even know if this is permanent because I kept seeing differing reports saying that it's temporary. Like they had reopened and now they're just shutting back down because they're just like, we just can't do this.
Not enough people are doing it, yeah.
And look, I get it. I don't want them to close. But like you said, I'm not ready to go back. I keep talking myself out of crowds. If there's a big crowd, like my parents wanted to take me out for my birthday. There's a little nice way of doing that. And
which happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Say his birthday was last Friday if you're listening on Monday or through the week of what is today, the 12th. So
And thank you to all the people who gave me birthday wishes. A little side note, Vaz pays attention.
Yeah.
Because he sent me a little gif of Mega Man and a birthday cake. Yeah. And he pays attention. I love that.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff right there.
But anyway, my parents want to take me out for my birthday. And usually it's just like, hey, let's go to some big restaurant and you can get whatever you want. And we'll just take you out and we'll have a nice dinner and whatnot. I debated a lot. I was just like, and there's like, where do you want to go? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? We can go here. We can go there. I was like, I really don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Big. I was like, I'm not comfortable right now. And they're just like, well, I mean, we could just grab some food and bring it back to your house if you want. And I'm like, yeah. I said, so I tell you what, I said, I'll look for a place, see if I can find something. And then we'll play it by ear. So I looked up a restaurant that was local, not local to the town I'm in, but just one town over. So
sure,
pretty much local.
Still a smaller business,
right?
Supporting.
I had seen it before. Like I like looking on MapQuest sometimes and just seeing if I can find Google Maps.
Boomer. I was just gonna say
Google
Maps.
I know. I heard that. I heard somebody talking about MapQuest the other day.
Like, does that thing still even exist?
No,
anymore?
It doesn't. I don't even know why I said MapQuest. So I was looking on Google Maps.
Okay, there you go.
And
a little more current.
Yeah, there we go. And I just like seeing what's in the area, seeing if some new businesses popped up or something like that I would like to check out. And then I stumbled upon this place called the Voodoo Smokehouse, and it's just like a little Caribbean barbecue joint. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was kind of checking it out, and it looked fairly small. So I said, okay, well, why don't we go scope this place out, and we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Well, we get down there, it's dead. And I hate that for the business.
Right.
But I was more comfortable going in.
Sure.
Still had my mask, still had all that, but I was like, I'm okay coming in here and ordering food. And there was like one other couple in there ordering. We had plenty of distance between us.
Sure.
And it was fine.
I was just going to ask because like I know we had started where we put reserve signs on every other table to make sure we weren't sitting anyone right next to each other and all that kind of stuff. So,
but I was comfortable with that, and it wasn't until we practically were done with our food that people started, like more people came in. I was like, all right, we gotta go.
Time to wrap it up. Wrap it up. Let's go.
But yeah, I mean that was nice to at least get out for a little bit and just feel like I got out
Right. Yeah.
It was good food. It was just a nice little time. Wasn't a great day as far as weather because, gosh, if you can see it right now, it looks terrible outside. Just rainy, foggy, grody mess. But my point
That's
being,
about October weather.
where was I going with this?
We were originally talking about movie theaters, and we weren't ready to go
crowds.
back. And
Crowds.
then your birthday, yeah.
Yeah,
and then
we were talking about crowds. So, yeah, I get why people don't. I'm still in favor of this theater from home thing, but I do understand that maybe they're not making as much money, which doesn't add up to me to a degree. You know what I mean? Like, I heard the whole Mulan experiment didn't work for Disney Plus. And, of course, everybody
Well, I
is
think
now...
that is kind of an outlier, to be fair, because it came with a lot of controversy, that movie. So even before it released, there was a, movement to see it canceled or try to prohibit people from, not prohibit them, but strongly suggest to not give the money because of some circumstances surrounding them actually filming it and things of that nature. So that may be a tough one as our first jumping off point as a deciding factor whether it'll work moving forward. But
I have been curious about other movies that were in theaters temporarily, like toward the beginning of the pandemic, and then when they just shifted to the theater from home. Like, I never got any numbers as to how well they did.
yeah,
Like,
I didn't either.
the one
but I kept forgetting to actively look it up too, to be fair.
Yeah,
So
sure. I mean, the one in particular that I would say for me was the outlier during all that when it started was The Invisible Man, because it was definitely a movie that I wanted to see, but it was also one of those movies like I could probably wait until this comes to home video or something like that because like I do want to see it, but am I eager enough to see it and go out for it? It just depends. And I was like, nah. And then of course this happens, and then they're just like, well, there you go. And I'm like, sold. Here's $20. I'm getting to watch it at home. Boom. And I was okay with it because to me, that's about how much it would pay or cost to go out. So
True.
I was fine paying $20. And I think that's
still, we've discussed this before. A family of 3 or 4 or however many is going out. $20 is cheaper than 4 tickets, 4 popcorn, or large popcorn, whatever, however you do things, sodas, candies.
It is. It really is. And people don't seem, that's the part of it I can't wrap my head around when people complain. It's like $20 is a lot. It's like, it's not. You're getting a deal.
I don't understand it either. Because even if you have it for just 3 days, let's say that's not even purchased, but I feel like a lot of these, like, you own
they've been doing
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
$5 more and it's yours.
Right.
Why not just do that?
It's still more economical overall. I mean, granted, you're not getting that full experience.
But
if we're arguing money, it's still more economical to do it that way.
yeah, convenience.
Than to bring your entire family out to hell. Even where I live, me just going by myself and springing on a popcorn and soda for just myself would probably be more than $20. In reality,
like,
my tickets are about 15. Large city, things are a little bit more expensive because the land they sit on is more expensive to rent. So, hell, I might even be saving it solo.
Yeah, so people have an understanding. She's absolutely right. $8 tickets down here.
Yeah.
Oof. $8. Yeah. Give or take,
difference.
obviously, with some tax and what have you. But, yeah, $8 range is about what I'm paying. But, again, I know if you do the math, it doesn't quite add up 20, but pretty close.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to spend the gas to go out to the theater.
True.
So... ta-da! See, it all
and
adds
I've
up.
never been able to go to the theater without snacking. So I'm always buying something, usually pretzels or popcorn. Like, I want it.
And think about this. You're getting the added bonus of, hey, if I got to go to the bathroom, pause.
That's true. I do have to plan my pee breaks.
Yeah. So, see, there's a convenience to it, but I understand that theater is an experience.
Yeah.
I don't want to not see certain movies in theaters, like one in particular that I'm super excited for, and it keeps getting pushed back because of the stupid pandemic, is Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
And I haven't even seen the trailer for this film, and I know it's done. I know it's ready. That's just what makes it so much
Maybe
worse.
they're trying to debate how they're going to release it too,
Yeah.
like which way they want to go.
Because it drives me mad. It's just like, just please, for the love of God, I want to see something, please.
Give me a snippet or
Just
something.
anything.
Yeah.
But that's a movie I want to see in theaters. Like, that was one thing that I mean, this is a little bit more on a personal note, but my dad got me into Godzilla and Kong as a kid, you know, and these two characters have not seen each other on screen for, let me do the math, 50 years almost.
Oh, dear.
Okay?
Yeah.
One movie back in 1963. It's never been done since. I want to take my father to this and we see it together. Because we saw, you know, Kong Skull Island together.
Maybe it'll do a drive-in, and then you both can do it a little bit more safely from your car, or if you're the type to bring lawn chairs or something, you know, and sit outside.
I would just rather the COVID go away. But
Well,
I
mean,
that,
if we're wishing for things, sure.
Yeah.
I would have rather it not happened at all. You know?
Sure. I personally just want it to go away, but I know that's not, you know, it's just not going to happen like that.
No, yeah, I think we're just riding this out for a while.
But hey, I've got until May of 2021 to
We'll
hope
keep our fingers crossed
that there will be a vaccine by then so I can go see this movie. To hell with everything else. I'm just joking, people.
That's all I want.
So, yeah, I don't know. I guess in the long run, what I'm trying to say is that I hope this isn't the end for theaters, but
Absolutely, yeah.
I could understand if it happened. I hate it.
Or if it's a brief pause and then we just see this grand reprise in a couple of years.
I think a pause would be fine. It's what it's been. Everybody just needs to calm down and chill.
We're all tired
just
of it.
yeah,
I mean,
trust me, I'm getting there,
Yeah.
and we've talked about how antisocial we can be.
Right?
I'm starting to be like, I would like to do something other than just home.
it would be nice to just know I could make the plans anyway,
Yeah,
and then
right?
leave and not feel anxious about it.
Mhm.
You know, I still
Yeah.
go do what I need to do, but like extra stuff that's not important.
Yeah.
I've definitely slowed down on that, assuming I was so ramped up to go do them all the time anyway.
Right.
It's just like now I feel like I've got a better excuse when I cancel.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would be nice.
One other thing I wanted to talk about while I'm thinking of things.
Sure.
So I heard about this thing called the 2020. I'm sure it's just the year. I don't know if they've been doing this for a while or not, but it's called the Discover Pods. Have you ever heard of this?
I have not.
Okay, the Discover Pod Awards announced their 2020 nominations.
Okay.
I went through this entire list of categories.
Where did we not go?
We're not on there.
Oh, yeah.
Video games is not apparently a podcast category. There's
What?
everything
Really?
else. And I was like, are you kidding me? So we are really that niche? I mean,
Are we, though? I feel like we
didn't-
wouldn't be, but okay.
I didn't think we were because last I checked, everyone was buying a Switch
Right?
because of the pandemic.
Right?
Everyone's playing video games.
Hmm.
But yet, they're not willing to acknowledge a video game podcast?
Interesting.
I mean, I don't know who these people are. It rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, maybe it's under a different category because there was arts and comedy and all these things. And I was like, so what about film and TV? Sure enough, there's a film and TV. So music, true crime, science.
Maybe all of us video game people, we just don't know how to crack the code on making it mainstream or something.
I guess.
Goes along with being a shut-in video game player, maybe. We just don't get out.
Yeah, people who play video games apparently don't care about pot. I don't know. I really have
Yeah, I
no
don't
idea.
know
It's
either.
it's bizarre to me that we're that.
Yeah. And I think with us
niche.
running in the circles we do, we would expect more. I don't know. Maybe,
I don't
maybe
either.
we've just hold ourselves into our own little corner of the internet, and we're very unaware of all the other stuff that's actually more popular. I don't know.
Well, one day we're going to break out of this corner, and by God, you'll all see.
You will.
You just wait.
I mean, it'll probably still be from this room.
Maybe.
But you'll see.
Uh-huh. So, what you been playing?
So, admittedly, it's been another slow video games week. I've been one of those. I've been obsessed with getting through Schitt's Creek this week, so I apologize.
God. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that?
Guys? Would you guys mind? Because I guess as spoiler-free as possible, because I know Stateside just got season 6.
Yeah.
Last week? And I had noticed it unintentionally because I literally just felt like rewatching some of the other seasons because I love David and Patrick so much. I was in the mood to smile because they're like my favorite couple ever. I've literally never had a couple make me smile as much as these two. So it was very feel good, And then when I saw the new episodes on the thumbnail, on Netflix, I'm like, wait a minute. Did it finally happen? I knew it was October, but I couldn't remember what day. Oh my God, such a lovely send-off. It was a lovely send-off. I'm still broken up that it's over because I will have to say that's probably in my top of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's...
Even though it has Chris Elliott. Sorry, people. I can definitely do without him. I'm not knocking him or anything. It's just not my cup of tea for comedy.
His character is quite annoying. He's just one of those.
Just drives me crazy, and I know that's the point, but so maybe job well done. Maybe I should be looking at it that way, But yeah, I could do without him. Just like stop.
Yeah.
Just stop being Chris Elliott. But it's fine. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah,
it didn't keep me from watching it. Clearly,
it is. If you've never watched Schitt's Creek, people, I'm not even joking. It's such a good show.
Good. Just the writing, the ensemble cast, just even the character development from start to end. Like it was just very well rounded overall, very well done. Just very well done.
And that's definitely the character development. Yeah, absolutely. Watching these characters when you really think about where they began,
right?
They were hard to like.
Oh God, yeah. By design, I'm sure.
By the end of it, you love them.
Yeah.
Like you want the best for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't want to say stuff without spoiling.
I know. I don't want to spoil it.
But
did you finish it though?
I did.
You got through the whole thing? Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
So I will say this. I hate watching David cry because he hits me emotionally.
He really does, right?
Like when he starts crying, I feel it. And I just want to hug him. I want to give him the biggest hug.
Like I feel like all of us wanted David as a best friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I could go for that in my life for sure.
Because he would be completely honest, but he would be completely loyal.
And so bizarre that it just makes for a lot of fun times.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stories.
I will say this. I don't know if you watched this or not, but did you see the won't say like a full documentary, but it's like a mini documentary about 40 minutes long about Schitt's Creek, the funnel.
I don't know. I had been avoiding a lot of stuff because of spoilers. So now I'm going to have to go back and check all these things out now that I've seen it.
Yeah. Since you've watched it now would be the best time because it's almost like a epilogue to the show ending.
Make me cry?
Probably because it got me a few times.
Yeah.
Because it was essentially talking about all of the actors, people working on the show, and even people who are just fans talking about what they love about these characters, how they grew, where they started, how they even became who they were. There were even some very interesting stories about the actors and where they were in their lives before they got the show, and then what that did for them going forward.
I did hear a little blip about Annie Murphy, though, that apparently she was just about to call it as far as acting was concerned and booked this part. And I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I know there probably is other phenomenal actors that could have done it, but could you imagine? Like, she just embodied it and nailed it so well.
It's those little nuances, those little facial features. Like sometimes you just see that look on her face.
Ew, David. Like I can't even do it, but
It's just
She's-
little
yeah, they're
things
great.
that she adds to it. Yeah, it's I couldn't see anybody. Everyone was perfectly cast, I think.
It really was a great ensemble. And I think those are usually the shows that end up drawing me more when it's not just one single character that we're following through. If you can get a full-on ensemble that just beautifully works together, like you take one of them out and it wouldn't have worked nowhere near as beautifully as it did. And then, of course, you've got, the Levy's genius behind what they do, and Catherine O'Hara, for the love of God, right? How do you not love her? And then I'd never heard of Annie Murphy before this, so it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Sorry we deviated from video games, but I'm still obsessed with this show. It's just so lovely.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's a good recommendation for anybody who wants a good laugh.
And
Just
now's a good
great show.
time because it's all done. You can watch it start to end. You don't have to fear about, is it going to get canceled in the between? It's just a nice run.
Yeah.
6 seasons. You'll laugh. You'll cry. You might hate Chris like me, but it's fine.
You might like
Or
it.
sorry, Roland.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
But
But I recommend it highly.
yeah.
But that I watched that and I still checked in on my Fallout shelter and my overcrowd, the trades, because I've noticed that keeps getting regular updates now that it's coming out of early access. So I've been trying to catch that as it comes, and so that was pretty much it. Because I've also been finally joining your 9 to 5 grind.
That's
so I've
right.
actually been busy through the
Congrats.
week now, not just sitting on my butt. Thank you. I wanted to give it a little time because you never know.
yeah, you never know.
I didn't want everyone going, oh, congratulations. And I'm like, oh, yeah, JK. Yeah, that didn't work. But it's been like 3 weeks now. So I'm fairly confident they're going to keep me for a little bit now anyway.
Good.
So yeah, the commute's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes you about, 2 seconds to get to the...
Provided there's no traffic in the hallway. Yeah. So I was very fortunate that they were willing to do 100% remote. And yeah, finally, for the first time since February for me,
That's right.
to be able to work and get a real paycheck again. So yeah.
Good. Wonderful.
How about you? Have you been getting to play anything now that we're, I guess, going back to video games here? Maybe
Yeah.
this is why we're not on the list.
Maybe. I don't know. Screw them. We've not...
They're
We've
like,
only
we don't know what
recently...
category this goes in anymore. Is it games?
This
Is it
was what...
lifestyle?
This shifted because of the mini pods that we did, and we enjoyed that
really
so
did.
much.
We
So
really
we were
did.
doing a lot of video game stuff before that, so
Yeah, no, that's true. That's fair.
Anyway,
It's only been for a few months.
yeah. Anyway, I think I'm done with Super Mario Odyssey. I tried to go back and start doing some stars, and I was like, yeah, I beat this. I'm done. And it goes back to a mindset that I have. If I've beaten something, if there's nothing more I can do, I'm done. I mean, I can go collect all this crap all day long, but what is it going to achieve? Nothing. So I'm done. I did get to try because Katrina and I were it was a nothing night, and I guess since we were done with that, it's like, hey, let's try something new. The Untitled Goose Game, but it's now the Untitled Geese Game, where you've got 2-player.
Oh, yeah.
So you
I
can
did see
both-
a little blip about that. Yeah.
So we thought we'd try that out. It's definitely still fun. It takes, depending on who you have playing with you, they can either be a great ally or a nuisance.
Oh, well, I mean, ducks are jerks.
Mm-hmm.
Geese are jerks. Well, any bird, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Just jerks.
But it definitely helps with cooperation because you can get a lot more done if you know exactly what you're doing, just kind of hitting it up, or you can
Ooh,
just...
could like one of you be the distraction while the other one's actually getting the
Exactly.
the checklist done or whatever, task notes.
So as long as they can keep them distracted long enough. But the only problem is that at some point, like in any same screen 2-player, if you get too far attached from one another. But they do have kind of a workaround with that. So if you get to 2 ends of the screen, whoever is kind of most important at the time can start honking, and then the camera will kind of shift to their perspective for a moment until they get back to the other person.
It's not split screen?
No.
Oh, okay.
So you just share the screen. So that became frustrating at times because obviously we're trying to do 2 different things and we just kind of hit the limits of the screen. And it's like, well, I don't know what to do.
Right? One of y'all's going to have to agree to do one for a minute.
Yeah. So, but it was pretty fun. We got through the entire game like in a couple of hours. because again, it's not a very long game, but it's a lot of fun.
And
just
I would imagine with help, maybe a little faster.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
But it's definitely a lot of fun. Just, I mean, if you've never played the game, I recommend it. I've recommended it before. It's great. One big twist in my gaming is I picked up Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh, you did now, did ya?
Yeah. Because I didn't buy it. My son has it in his library, and I don't understand how the Switches work. So he can put his games on our Switch. And apparently he put it on there, and I saw it, and I had nothing to do, and I was like, I'll try this.
Let's see. Yeah.
I'm hooked.
This is where we'll have to disagree, because this was one that I had the most unpopular opinion of. I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, you and Todd both didn't like it, and that's where I'm so, because I heard you both. I'm just like, I'm prepared to be bored, and I got sucked in.
But that's, people do really like it, though. I feel like I'm an outlier in that regard. You know,
I think a lot of it comes from. I mean, do you have any kind of love or attachment to the series?
I really loved the very first one, and maybe that's what it is for me, because they play so different, and I have the nostalgia of the original Zelda. You know, the side scroller, kind of more of a dungeon crawler type thing. And I can remember as a kid loving that game, but I never could get into any other version of Zelda since.
Right.
Like even Zelda 2.
Yeah.
It was fine, but I feel like they changed up the formula enough that I just didn't enjoy it as much anymore.
Well, fun fact, you're not alone in disliking that one. That's one of the most reviled ones, because people were just like, what is this? Yeah.
I tried it.
I think I have enough, because I'm a huge fan of the series. I've played every game in the series. For the most part, I think there are a few that maybe I missed that were on handhelds, but for the most part, I've played
spin-off ones.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I played most of these games, and I didn't want to pass on this. I wanted to at least give it a shot, despite what you guys were saying, because I trust your opinions. But we have different at times.
We're all different people. Yeah.
But I got into it, and I think it goes into not just the Zelda aspect of it, but the open worldness of it all. Like I get suckered into those for some reason, because when it comes to exploration, and then I get to see how I get to explore. I mean, I can go anywhere. Like, dude can climb. He's like Spider-Man. He can climb a damn mountain like it's nobody's business. And as long
as you have enough stamina.
Yeah. And once I started doing that, I was just like, well, I can go over here and I can go over here. So I just started climbing things and finding ways up. And even if I started falling, I was like, no, I'm going to get up this damn mountain. So I'd get it in my head that I'm going to find a way up here. And I did. And I don't know. I'm kind of digging it. So
well, good.
I'm
That's
really
always the hope.
Yeah.
I didn't hope you'd hate it.
I was concerned. I mean, there are a few things that, I mean, it's definitely a different experience based on other games, because they changed up so much in regards to how you get your weapons and your clothes and everything. But I also kind of respect what they're doing. I feel like I have everything at my disposal. I just have to kind of keep it up, like the weapons breaking and stuff like that. It's a little annoying, but I've gotten to a point where the system is easily swappable. Like if I break something, I'm just like, all right, grab it, go. I got the next one, go. And I just kind of keep the cycle moving. Combat is still kind of, I feel like I'm not quite getting it. Like it's so familiar, but for some reason my buttons and my brain they're not connecting for some, I don't know why. I have yet to figure that out.
Well, that also could just be since you're using a different controller.
Yeah.
You know, since again, we couldn't agree where the X or cross or whatever people are calling it goes.
And that's the bizarre thing too, is I'm using the GameCube controller and it's already
that's wrong too.
Yeah, because
or wrong.
Like the buttons are not in like a triangle. They're kind of like, here we go. And so you've got the little B button here, the big A button here, and then you've got your Y button here and your X button over here. So it's all jacked up.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I'm still trying to kind of keep it in my head. It's like, where am I hitting? It's bizarre.
Keyboard and mouse all day, baby.
I know. At least got one constant.
At least all my keyboards have agreed where WASD goes.
But I'll keep you posted if I lose interest. But I don't.
Well, I hope you love it. I
Yeah.
hope it continues to be a great game for you.
I hope so. I'm curious about the lore now that I'm kind of getting into it. But we'll see. All right, let's do some news since we've chatted for quite some time now. I can't help it.
Jeez.
I want to talk to you
know.
people.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't get to talk to you as much. News. What are we talking about in news? Well, let's talk about what I would probably consider the big news, unless something has happened between now and when I was writing the news.
Right.
Reports from journalists and content creators and influencers stating that the Xbox Series X is running extremely hot.
Oof.
In fact, someone got burned, like touching it.
Oh, no. Oh,
Now-
no. Oh, no.
One journalist compared it to a fireplace shaft and even noticed that the console wasn't even doing anything taxing to the system. Like, he was just running the menus, and it was running
See,
hot.
The cooling is where I thought they would have the better end of it because of how open it was, you know.
Yeah, you'd
Maybe
think.
it needs more holes throughout the actual... Ooh.
Yeah. Another journalist claimed to have burned his hand on the console's storage expansion. One thing to note is that the console is, in fact, emitting the heat. So, I mean, it's venting out, but there's just a lot of it.
No.
But it does raise concerns about overheating, over time, among other things. A spokesperson responded to these concerns via Twitter, saying the console will output system heat out of the exhaust, just as any other console will. Our engineering team confirmed that the heat leaving the console is not significantly different than the Xbox One X. He says, this matches my experience at home. Quiet, fast, impressive power for the size. Now, you can take that statement however you wish, because...
Well, I mean, if people are getting burned,
Yeah,
and these are kids,
I don't remember
they're
anyone...
going to touch it.
Well, I mean, the kids probably will get burned. I mean, this was a journalist that burned his hand. So, kids would...
Oh, yeah.
But on the same token, if you're someone whose heat went out...
You
got a heater.
bonus. That's true.
But
Hopefully
I'm not...
it's not attached to your electricity.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, God, that's just... It seems irresponsible. Despite if it's exhausting or not, it just seems like...
Yeah, I feel like that's something they would have been able to emulate easily in a test before it got shipped out.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side of this, a report came out on the PlayStation 5, and its report of liquid metal, or its use of liquid metal on the system's operation chip. Now, the PlayStation 4 long struggled with heat distribution, so Sony has attempted to avoid past mistakes because they used some sort of paste on the PlayStation 4. I don't know why you would use paste, but anyway, this is a combination between an AMD chip, a heat sink design, and of course a T1000. So they've got little things where you can just kind of see the liquid in the chip, and it's just moving around. And apparently, according to Sony, this is supposed to provide, quote, long-term stable, high cooling performance.
I guess we'll wait and see. I mean, they did take it apart for all of us this week.
So,
Like, I could understand what we were doing it for, but
it doesn't matter. But, I mean, hey, it's pretty cool.
I guess we'll see when they start getting them, because I still know a lot of games journalists that are like, haven't gotten it yet, but hopefully soon.
But,
So,
yeah, that's the big but. The next big story that I thought would be worth mentioning, if you thought GameStop was on its last legs, then fear not, because Microsoft may have saved it. In a new multi-year partnership, GameStop stores will now modernize their equipment with Microsoft hardware like Surface tablets and Dynamic 365 in a move to better serve their customers. Furthermore, GameStop will offer the Xbox All Access that allows players to essentially pay for their new console in installments while getting access to all the games available with the Xbox Game Pass. So you can just walk right into a GameStop and nab you a Series X, should they have one, without paying a dime. Or at least not $500 or whatever.
Right?
Yeah, over time you will be paying for this.
Right.
While this move may seem more beneficial to GameStop up top, I have no doubt this will help push Xbox consoles into houses down the line. Because
Sure.
if you can go in and buy one PlayStation for $400 or $500, or you have this other console that you could just walk out with little to no money, which one are you going to do?
I mean,
Some people are not brand loyal.
that's true. Well, I feel like the States are more brand loyal than other countries, but sure.
Mhm.
I could see that. Yeah, I was actually reading through that because I saw where like a lot of the Microsoft devices were going to get implemented in the store as well to help make things more streamlined for the associates to hopefully learn their purchasing history and all this kind of stuff to help you out when you come in, make it a little more fast for you. I don't know. I mean, say what you will about GameStop, I would still hate to see an actual store video games going away altogether. So we'll see how this helps out. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking this will be, if nothing else, as a crutch for them to get by for a little while longer. I don't know that for sure. This could revitalize the whole thing. Don't know. We will have to wait and see.
Yeah.
The next thing I have, and I was just going to throw this as a quick hit, but there's a lot to kind of cover, so I just figured, we'll do it here. Resident Evil is getting a film reboot. If you're excited about that. This is coming from...
just anymore, I can't even take it.
I know. This is coming from the original film producers, which I don't know if gives me a lot of hope, but it will be directed by someone new, unlike the last series, which seemed to be the same guy. This will be directed by Johannes Roberts. He's best known for the film 47 Meters Down and its sequel. According to the director, his vision will maintain focus on the narrative of the first two games, but told in a very grounded human way. So take the incident in Raccoon City and the mansion, I guess happening simultaneously, which seem like two completely different. But I guess you could do that. I don't know. I feel like you're going to be cutting out a lot of narrative in there somewhere.
Weren't they supposed to be doing some Netflix series too, or no?
That animated film or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Now, they did also announce a cast, and it's not bad. Not bad.
yeah?
There's some familiar names in there. I'm interested to see, but it also puts my mind at slight ease just seeing the characters they're going to be using, because the last game or the last movie.
I quit watching halfway through that series.
Like I said, I
think I got to 3 and I was like, I'm done.
I was done it too. Because they just pissed all over those characters. Anyway, what do we got here? So, starring in the adaptation, I struggled with that word, will be Kaya, Scodolero, seems right, Kaya Scodolero, if I said that wrong, screw you, as Claire Redfield. She's best known for the Maze Runner series. I've never watched it, so I don't know who she is.
I've heard of it, though, but...
Playing her brother Chris is Robbie Amell, who is a very steadily working actor. I don't know if you know his name. He's been in projects like Scooby-Doo, The Flash, X-Files. Most recently, he was in the Netflix Babysitter movie.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember.
Is he the main character? Is that who it is? Because I've actually watched those two travesties on Netflix.
I don't know if he is or not. I would assume he's probably one of the bigger...
What was his name again?
Robbie Amell. I actually know him from the CW, like The Flash.
It's not who I was thinking of, but I do recognize him now that I see his face.
Yeah, he was on The Flash. He was on Legends of Tomorrow, all those DC comic book shows. Even his brother was Arrow, the Green Arrow.
Oh, okay. But I do remember him from the movie, and actually his character was kind of fun.
Okay.
So, okay. Yeah.
Good. We also have Avon. Yeah, there's no I in there. Avon Yogia? Shit. I hate this. He's playing Leon Kennedy. He's also been in films like the most recent Shaft adaptation and Zombieland Double Tap. This one was a very interesting casting choice. This next one here. Tom Hopper will be Wesker. Hopper has been in shows like Black Sails, Game of Thrones, but is also recently rose to heavy prominence as Luther on Umbrella Academy.
Oh, okay.
I think that's kind of an inspired choice. I could see him being Wesker. Finally, Neil McDonough, seems right, as William Birkin. He has been in, you know his face. If you happen to know his name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been playing along just looking at names so
Yeah.
I can see if I recognize him. But yeah, you guys have totally seen this guy in a lot of
30 years in the business. He's been in anything from Captain America, Arrow, Desperate Housewives, Justified, Yellowstone, Sonic the Hedgehog, for crying out loud. Just to name, I mean, he's been in everything. So you know, he's one of those guys. You know who he is. You've seen him in something. That guy.
Yeah.
So if you're looking forward to what's supposed to be a more accurate representation of Resident Evil, then cross your fingers and hope for the best. Because that's all I can tell you.
I guess someone's bound to do it eventually, huh?
I guess. Do you have any big stories? If not, because I'm going to go to Quickets.
I mean, it did seem like a big Microsoft week.
Okay.
So there was only one other thing that I made note of since we've been talking about, well, not as much anymore, this whole like everyone's taking a stab at Apple kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Microsoft is making new Windows App Store policies now, which seems like another little stab at it and what would appear to be an attempt at challenging Apple once again. They published 10 different principles that it's promising to adopt for developers on their storefront moving forward, where it promises to hold its own apps to the same standards as competing apps and a commitment to charge reasonable fees that are reflective of rival app stores on Windows and won't block apps on Windows based on devs' choice of in-app payment systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you wanted to check that out, they've got that on their store, the 10 different policies that they plan on moving forward. So things like the devs will have the freedom to choose whether to distribute their apps through Windows or through an app store and will not block competing apps on the Windows Store.
Okay.
If the devs want to do an in-game payment system, sounds like right here, by all means, have at it. Timely access to information about, their interfaces and how Windows is going to set forth new interoperability principles and things of that nature. So I wasn't able to find what percentage that they were going to plan to take from here, because I remember calling them out, a few weeks ago, where I was like, I expect you to start charging less than 30% now as well.
Yeah.
Maybe now they are. Maybe they're actually putting, their money where their mouth is, or a little less money where their mouth is. But, yeah, and apparently they're going to be extremely transparent about its rules and policies and promotions and everything moving forward than it has been, and apply everything consistently across the board, whether they made it or not.
All right.
We'll see how they enforce those, I guess, moving forward, because I'll be looking now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'll be looking now.
It feels like
You're promising to do that.
an interesting move. Almost like they're playing a game of chess.
They really are. I even read an article about Microsoft teaming up with a South Korean gaming market called SK. Well, SK Telecom is the name of it, where they're partnering with them, I guess, trying to get a bigger foothold in, gaming in that market. So SK Telecom, I guess, is more of working on 5G networks in that area and does cloud gaming services. So Microsoft is teaming up with them to bring their cloud service through that for like $14.40 a month is what it, the transfer rate broke down to, which is another cloud gaming for them to have access to more than 100 games of Microsoft's on phones and tablets and things like that over there. So they're making some big moves here, trying to get out of just the United States or North America, which is where they've been the most popular so far. So some big moves on Microsoft this whole year, it's starting to feel like.
It really does. All right, let's do some Quickets. Now, these Quickets may seem a little less like beefy. They're going to seem like beefier Quickets because these weren't, they were good headlines, but they weren't enough to be a story. So they're just, it's kind of in between.
A quicker news.
Yeah, it's a beefy, some of them are beefy, but not all of them.
Beef it.
Yeah, so
I don't know if I like that.
And we might not have anything to talk about with them. They're just worth mentioning things. That's why they're Quiggets. Anyway, Sony released a new trophy system for the PlayStation, one that increases the level cap from 100 to 999. Now, due to this change, all players' levels are or have been adjusted accordingly to match their current scale. So if you were sitting at like level 10, you may now be in the triple digits. Additionally, there are now level badges that reflect the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum systems. So if your level falls between like 1 and 299, you'll have a bronze, 300 and 599 silver, 600 and 998 gold, and then if you hit the 999, you're at platinum. Certified.
Oh, okay.
What the badges mean outside of some sense of pride and accomplishment, I don't know. But
When have they ever, though?
I know. Like,
I mean,
I think I was at like
not
level.
knocking it, but
Yeah, no, I think I was at like level 32, and now I'm like 430 something. I don't know,
all right.
but I guess cool.
Sure.
I mean, I
Here's
was
your
I was
participation.
Yeah, I'm not. It doesn't bother me. I have talked in the past about my trophy. Like I have to be top of my list because I'm just that guy. But I'm there now. I'm okay. Don't start
You're
messing
settled
with
in.
everything
Yeah.
and make me drop. But also, while we're talking about Sony, they released a list of PlayStation 4 games that will not play on the PlayStation 5, and it's really 10 games that you are not going to miss. I mean, so much so
that's
that I
good,
didn't even make
guess.
I didn't make an effort to list them because I'm like, I don't know what these games are.
Oh, well then.
Yeah,
That's probably like everyone at home's like, oh, but no, those 10 games were amazing. And I've been playing them since the PlayStation 2. And I can't believe they would do that now. I don't know.
That said, according to Sony, unless I misread, every other title on the PlayStation 4 library will be available at launch. And as soon as you sign into the PlayStation 5, you will see it in your library and you can play it.
All right.
So outside of those 10 games.
Right.
But everything else, there you go.
Go look on Twitter now.
Yeah.
It's not about the 10.
So, hey, Super Mario Brothers 35, Nintendo's online-only multiplayer Mario game, came out on October 1st. It's kind of in the
Okay.
vein of like Tetris 99, where it's just a bunch of people playing the same game, and then they can screw over the other player because you're doing
Okay.
stuff, and it looks like crazy fun. But guess what? I'm not going to play it now because players have hacked it. And I'm done. I mean,
I don't get it.
I don't either.
It's like we can't have nice things.
No. And look, again, it's already a multiplayer game, and I'm already kind of not feeling that as it is. But I was curious. I thought
Sure.
maybe I would give this a go. But the fact that someone's already hacked it, I just don't see any point now.
It's ruining everyone else's good time.
So what happened is in the game, coins are used as a scoring system that can be used to unlock other levels and features. But amazingly, 5 players sit at the top of the leaderboard with a max amount of coins, 99,999, which seems highly unlikely within the time span that the game has been out. So, screw them.
Yeah.
NetherRealm Studios announced Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, which is a new game expansion that includes every DLC pack for the low, low price of $59.99 that some of us paid more for.
I feel like they've bumbled this whole thing up.
They have. Anyway, this comes with the new combat pack, which confirms the 3 fighters we mentioned last week, or the week before, whenever.
I did see some of that truth or trash, and you probably are going to tell us what we got right or wrong here soon. But just saying, I saw.
Yeah, Rain, Melina, and Rambo.
Uh-huh.
And I'll be honest with you, I will say.
And I think I said truth,
You did.
just for the record.
For the record, this is one other thing too. It made me realize how much I hate leaks because it was cool seeing those characters, but at the same time, I'm like, you know how excited I would have been not knowing who was in this?
Oh, I hate leaks. Like, it's just a big spoil sport. I feel like we just have to 100% get off of social media if we ever want to be surprised at anything ever again.
Plus, I mean, for that matter, why, if I was running the YouTube account, don't put like the biggest reveal in the thumbnail. I know that's a draw.
Oh, yeah.
But oh my God, like say new secret character or some shit like that, and make people click on it, make them enticed, because the moment you show them Rambo, I mean they're like, oh, cool, Rambo. I mean, granted they're going to want to see it in action, but you've given away the lead. I mean that's the big deal. But unlike a certain Terminator, Stallone is Rambo.
He did.
That is Stallone. He is voicing his character, and I'm like, what?
I don't understand.
Schwarzenegger he's put his voice, his likeness, and everything in that Predator game, but he couldn't do it for this?
I'm telling you, man, I don't understand how these contracts and who owns what likeness for what, or kind of backroom dealings they feel is, oh, this is definitely worth more than that. I don't.
All he had to do was record his voice. That's all he had to do.
I still think it's always tied up in whoever owns the actual character.
I hate it. Anyway.
For all I know, he said no to, like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand how complicated these contracts get, and then when people get greedy.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm currently under the assumption, because I've not been told otherwise, that this is part of the whole Aftermath pack. This is not something you have to pay for.
Okay.
Because, we thought Aftermath was going to be part of the whole season pass, and then that turned out to be an entirely new expansion we had to pay for.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming these are not characters we have to pay for. So until
I don't know anymore. For all I know, in a month it's free.
Well, my God.
The way they've been
I mean,
doing the structure.
Seriously, think about that. Anybody who bought Aftermath, I mean, I'm hoping, because if this is an add-on that you have to pay for, then those people who bought the Aftermath thinking they're getting a better deal are now getting screwed over worse than us who bought the season pass and had to pay for the Aftermath. All this extra, it's bullshit. Anyway.
Another good reason not to pre-order something
I know.
anymore.
Now, this will come with a free upgrade to the next-gen console, obviously, since we just mentioned, hey, all the games are coming over.
Sure.
Will come with visual enhancements, 4K resolution, and even cross-play. So if you're wanting to play with your buddy on another console.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
All of this releases on November 17th, so get at it. EA revealed Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, which releases on the 6th of November. Woo.
Okay.
Octodad developer Young Horses. Did you ever play Octodad?
No.
I heard things.
I mean, I remember seeing it in action a few times, and it looks like a lot of tomfoolery. That would be fun for like 30 minutes, and after that, I feel like the joke would run stale on me. But
well, maybe this tomfoolery might be for you, because their next game, Bug Snacks, will release on November 12th for the PlayStation 4, 5, and PC via the Epic Game Store, which I feel like is every PC game nowadays.
At least for a while. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what the game is about, but there's a good voice cast. I
remember seeing the trailer for Bug Snacks, and then people were all into the song for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So, okay, fine. It was cute, but no, after a couple of plays, it would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
It looks cute.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be willing to give it a shot, I guess, just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Why not? It's got a pretty impressive voice cast with the likes of Yuri Lowenthal, Barbara Goodson, Cassandra Lee Morris, and even Roger Craig Smith. So if you love all these famous voice actors and actresses, you might hear a voice that you know.
Perfect.
It also seems that the Bethesda deal over at Microsoft is kicking off perks, as 3 game collections are looking to release on the Series X. Wolfenstein's Alternate History Collection, the Dishonored Collection, and Prey the Arcane Collection. All exclusive to the Xbox Series X. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
I wonder if there's any little perkies thrown in there.
I have no doubt they won't say
I
it.
feel like you need to. But
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not sure if we spoke about this in previous episodes. I don't remember, but you stopped me if we did. There were 2 new Monster Hunter games announced for the Switch, Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Stories 2. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is there was an interesting article on Polygon where they were talking about a new companion you'll have in Monster Hunter Rise, and it's a canine known as a Palamute that you can train. You can ride it around and be your new hunting buddy. If you're not fond of the Palico, or maybe you are fond of the Palico, they could still come along with you.
is it just as cute?
Well, it's a big dog, so it just depends. Are you a cat or a dog person? And the cool thing about this is that if you don't really like the Palico, you can then bring along 2 of these dogs, so you can have like a hunting pack.
I mean, it is pretty cute too.
Yeah, it's up to you. They're giving you options to hunt if that's what you want to do.
I feel like I do remember reading about this week, but what reminded me was me looking it up just now to see was the big stuffed animal version of it that I think was, does it say here? Because I want to say it had to do with the Switch release, which you just talked about. I don't know. I'm looking at the stuffed animal now, so that was pretty cute. And I remember people talking about possibly wanting to get that for those who collect merch.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
But it is cute. I still think the Palico is cuter.
I mean, I'm a Palico man myself. I don't know if I would be a Palamute person, but who knows? I know Katrina would
it's
probably.
Nice to have options.
Yeah, I think she would be a Palamute person because she's a dog.
Oh, yeah.
She's a dog person.
Dog lover.
Yep. So, did you know that Dungeons and Dragons was kind of racist?
Okay.
There was a rule.
I mean, sure.
Okay. A rule was recently removed that negatively impacted your ability score modifier based on your race.
Oh, okay.
Now, I know it might be more complicated than that, but it's not really. If you break it down, it really isn't.
It's like I've played it very little and nowhere near to the point where I was fluent in all of its rules and lore, even a little bit.
I mean, look.
I guess, took it more of in that game as a, because they're magic classes and things like that just kind of determined what area you were better at because you were born into this magic or into this caste, or if you're human, I don't know.
Well, this seemed to be race-based in some way, and, that's wrong.
They do use that terminology, so.
There you go. A little history for you. And look, if you love Dungeons and Dragons and you think I'm shitting on it, I'm not. I'm quoting the news.
Right? Right? It's had a couple of weeks, actually, D&D. I feel like I've seen some.
It's
It's
fine.
That's where it stemmed from.
It's fine. No one hates you and thinks you're racist for playing that game that had a racist thing in it. It's gone now. Just get over it. Due to a recent crackdown by Facebook, everyone's favorite social media platform, they were trying to remove hate speech. Caught up in the rigmarole was a group of Fallout 76 players known as the Free States Militia. And, they sound like a hate group.
Sure.
Because that's what people are nowadays. They got banned from the platform, being mistaken for an actual militia group. But eventually this mistake was reversed and allowed them to come back to the cesspool that is Facebook. So, good for them.
Even when they try to do something right, poor Fallout 76 gets pooped on.
It's funny, though.
I mean, it kind of is. It kind of reminds me of the Sean Bean incident on Twitter when he was a hit man.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you kill him? Did you get him? And then all these people started getting banned for talking about killing Sean Bean.
Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, but in this case, he was fine. It was just
sure.
about the game, but kind of funny. These platforms don't know. Like, just, well, all right.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Finally, this was a last-minute addition. New footage from Monster Hunter, the film, was seen during an online Comic-Con interview with the film's director, Paul W.S. Anderson. Hey, he's the guy who directed all those Resident Evil movies.
Yeah,
Doesn't that make you feel great about this movie?
Same cast, basically, too.
Yeah. The clip is about as quick and simple as the other clip we saw with the Diablos, Black Diablos. Matter of fact, I was looking into that. That is a Black Diablos. It's not just a regular Diablos.
Ah.
I know people care. I do.
Well, the fans themselves, the hardcore ones, will.
I know. So, in this interview, in the clip, let me do that. Instead of being them on a tank and then the Diablos coming out, they're in a plane flying over the Monster Hunter world, I guess. And then a Rathalos attacks, and we actually get to see it in all its glory. And it looked pretty cool. So it looked accurate.
I was reading an article about it from his perspective this week, and the way that it was broken down, now whether that was just to get us calmer about the ones who were getting, like, how you were upset that why in the world did we have to do it on our world when Monster Hunter World is so, flush with other lore and different ways we could have done this, that he was describing it as that Mila's character is actually being presented as the player.
Correct. I did hear this
in the Monster Hunter world. Mm-hmm. So, and when I was reading through that, it sounded a little bit more interesting from that perspective. But again, I'll have to see its execution overall to see. But when it was framed in that way, it sounded more interesting than what we basically were left to believe up till this point, because we weren't getting a whole lot of information.
Right.
So if that's the way they're doing it, and it is still based in that world, it could be all right. It could be all right. We'll see, like you said. But
no, I agree, because that was when I heard that as well. I was trying to read through it and kind of understand it, and I was like, all right, I see your approach now. Mm-hmm. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Because the monsters already look accurate as hell. I'm on board with it from that already. So now
as long as you don't dawdle in our world, and that's just enough to set up why she's going over there, and then the rest of the movie is like that, fine.
And I'm going to assume that we're actually going to see more of this world, not just, 1 hour over here in the real world and then like 30 minutes over in that world, because throughout that little confirmation explanation, he did confirm there will be palicos in the movie. So that will be interesting to see. And I don't think why would you put them in the movie if you're not going to utilize them and explain who they are? Because that was the other part of it too that he mentioned. He said she's not going to know all this stuff. So as she is technically the avatar for the audience, for those of us who already know where they are, we know. But they don't know, the people who've never played the games. So then she can ask those questions. Who is this? What is that? Who is that? What is this? And then,
Which will be so great.
Yeah.
I'm sure throughout the whole time.
I hope.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I have a little bit more faith in it now that I read that. So we'll just have to see the execution. And then...
But it also seems like that December release date is legit. He hasn't, that could be stateside too.
That's true, yeah.
So I'm really surprised by it, but
yeah, fingers crossed.
I guess here's my big thing. Would I be willing to pay full price for this movie? This would be something I guess, unless I heard, oh man, it's so amazing, because I do not expect to hear fantastic reviews for this movie. I hate to be like that. I want to hear it's a rollicking, fun, good time with monsters, but I know there's going to be those outliers saying this movie sucks. And I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that it's fantastic. At least for me. But maybe if I can get some middle ground.
Just gonna we'll just have to see for ourselves.
Yeah. So would I pay for that theater at home $20?
For that one, I feel I would, but I'm not as excited as other people. I liked the game fine. I was never a person who followed the entire franchise all the way through.
But I mean, you just got into it recently with Monster Hunter World,
Right.
correct? See,
Right.
mine goes back a few years, so I've already
Right.
kind of seen these characters go from, I guess, lesser quality video game consoles to something where they are now, and it's just like, oh my God, look at them, they're so beautiful.
Well, maybe we'll do another like we're doing Mega Man. Like we'll both go see it and then review it from a perspective of someone who is me, basically just watching a movie, or someone who has, the knowledge of everything leading up to it and can tell us how well they captured it all.
That's true. Wow, look at that. Great segue into our topic this week, which is the music of Mega Man 5.
Yes.
Just continuing. We've got one more game, people, so if you don't like this,
One more.
too bad. Give us a suggestion next time. This is what sounded good to us.
Talk to us, man.
But this is, so last week's soundtrack, in my opinion, was a misstep for the franchise. It just seems so off kilter in so many ways. But it wouldn't be the first misstep in the franchise. Let me tell you, there are others. But at least that's all it was, a misstep. Understanding, acknowledging such a mistake, it allows you the opportunity to correct course and not do that again. A step in the right direction was made for the score of Mega Man 5, but ironically not for the rest of the game. Not to say that the game is bad. In fact, this is actually one of those I'm kind of fond of because I owned it growing up. But if you do comparisons to the other games, it retreads very familiar ground for the 5th time.
Okay.
So you think about that. Number 5. Okay, what are we doing different this time? Nothing. Absolutely. We're going to throw in a new support character. There you go. Look at that. It's like, so we're still fighting Dr. Wily. Yeah. Okay, so what's different? Nah, nothing. He's
People.
Yeah, he's still
or
doing
heroes or whatever we call them.
nothing has changed. We're just doing the same thing again, but with minor tweaks. Now, as far as the score, that was composed by Mari Yamaguchi. She was someone who I feel like obviously got it because her score feels more in line with previous entries into the series.
It really does, yeah.
And perhaps after last game's generic tunes, it does come off as a much better soundtrack by comparison. Now, in regards to the genre this particular game is trying to emulate, we mentioned before rock, blues.
There was definitely a more funkiness to a lot of these tunes.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
my initial reaction, maybe pop music, maybe. I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah.
I was really trying to nail it down, but I couldn't quite find what genre it was hitting for. But it does have tunes that I feel like are at least comparable to Part 3, at most, as far as pretty catchy. So, where are we going to start? We're going to start same as we've done. And we're going to go up the list and see how well we agree with these tunes.
Right. I feel like, what was it, 1 and 2? We did pretty well. 1 for sure. And then ever since then, we've kind of strayed.
Yeah, it's been kind of a mixed bag because we seem to, there's a pattern forming toward the middle. The middle seems to kind of shift a little bit. Front and back, we seem to flip-flop, which is really bizarre. But again, our approaches are different, how we're doing this. This one, it's a good soundtrack. Again, by comparison, not as good as 2, but better than 4. Equal to 3 as far as I'm concerned. But there were some that I was just kind of mid-ground where I was like, I don't really know where to put this. So I had to find a way to organize them. But then others felt like they really, like I know where they go. Like I could just hear it and be like, yeah, this one goes here, this one goes there. But then some of these others, I was like, I'm not sure. So my number 8 would be Crystal Man. Now, I don't immediately get a sense of crystals or cold, I guess, because I feel like that's what the tune is supposed to be reminiscent of, like ice or cold or something like that. I can hear that, I guess, that element that they're looking for. And maybe that's why I feel like it does a good job in that regard. But I'm really not particularly fond of this tune. Just something about it was just kind of like, I guess. And it's funny, too, because if you look back on a lot of the cold, ice-themed tunes, they aren't... They're not bad, they're just not the best out of the lot. They're usually the weaker tunes. Because and maybe it's because they're trying to emulate that. You know, it's just, who wants to be cold? Nobody.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's just what I'm saying. So what about you? Where does Crystal Man fall on your list?
See, this is the streak stays alive. I actually had it at number 2.
Damn.
I know, because it had that mysterious kind of vibe, you know, and once I was looking at the graphic, it actually just seemed to fit the aesthetic on screen really well. It seemed to, I liked the color schemes. I could see where they were trying to make it a little more, whatever you would say a crystal would sound like, but that kind of plunkiness to it, that just kind of, I thought, okay, I could see that, and it just seemed to fit really well. Not the best, obviously, because it was my number 2, but I did. I felt like it fit what I was looking at and what I felt in the moment when I first heard it. Well.
All right. Interesting enough.
I should do it 2 different ways if I would have thought of this earlier on, where I actually judged it how I've been doing it, but also then the tunes that I just personally liked more might have been more interesting. Where it's like, I liked this song the best, but it didn't fit anything. But I just liked the song the best.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably should have had 2 different ratings boards, but I didn't.
And try to find some middle ground with it. And combine your scores.
Right. And see which ones overall just kind of won from that respect. I don't know. Messed it up now. We're too far along.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm curious now because this matches our number 3, number 8, and number 2. So I'm curious to see how, because we said this is comparable to 3. What if we give the exact same scores?
No, are we so far on track for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see. My number 7 would be Starman. This tune definitely gives off space vibes. It has this little eerie, I won't say creepy, just there's a space thing to it.
It was definitely spooky. Yeah. I have spooky as a note. A little more spooky
so I guess,
to it.
Yeah, something like that. So if it's one tune that actually fits its level perfectly, it's probably this one, which, you know, you'd think if that's what we're rated by, it should be higher on my list. Well, it's not. Screw you, because it's not one of my favorites.
Because that's how I've been rating them.
Right. So I could see this one being higher on your list maybe, but it's really not a tune I like hearing or listening to, but it does work for its level. So, I mean, I gave it a little favoritism bump because I just don't really care for it, but it does fit.
That's fair. Yeah.
It does fit.
Yeah.
So where does it fall for you?
So Starman. Okay, well, my number 1 for all the reasons you basically just said. I did feel spooky. The twinkling effect, I believe, came off in the music. It did a very good job of me feeling like, sure, I'm going through stars and skies and all that, you know. And then when I looked at the scene, seemed to fit it pretty well to a T. Although the satellites could have done without, you know, just put us in space and call it a day. We don't have to be grounded for a moment. But yeah, I feel like it nailed the aesthetic overall pretty well for, you know, what I was seeing and what I was hearing.
Fair enough. See, I did have a favoritism lean, but see that makes it fair then, because I'm giving the favoritism and you're giving the well, it has to be this way.
Hopefully, the objective outsider approach.
Yeah. So we'll have some. See, we're creating a middle ground. So there you go.
We are.
Stone Man was my number 6.
Okay.
I feel that it does capture a bit of the cold, rocky construction vibe of the level. It kind of has an action element to it, almost like a desperate chase as you climb. But it kind of has a dour tone a little bit, so it's I felt like there's a bit of a turnoff. So it kind of right there where it's doing all the right things, but it's a little hard to like because it just feels so mopey in a way. It's not really mopey, but you know what I mean. It sounds dour. You're listening to it now.
Hopefully.
What about you?
I don't know. I put him at number 4 for Stone Man. I did get the funky, bright hero kind of vibes from it. Like, we're adventurous. This is, what he does. And this was actually the one I had the least notes on, probably for reasons you just mentioned, where I was like, it looked exactly like, I guess, how I was feeling or what I expected. Although I expect a little bit more cold feel.
Yeah.
But you said you got that, so I don't know. I think with the later renditions that we have here, I'm having a harder disconnect with name, song, graphic, and what the hell they even do as their special.
Yeah.
So I've been having, maybe in these later ones now, a bigger disconnect on what I'm expecting from a name, and then trying to visualize what I think they do.
Oh, you just wait until next week.
All right. It'll just be all over the place.
There's going to be one name you're going to be like, what the hell is that?
Like Hard Man. Like, okay,
That hard? Cool.
Yeah, nice. Sure. That's a special power.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Stone.
So, yeah, he was kind of in my middle.
Okay. Well, then my number 5 goes to Charge Man. Now, this one immediately tries to pump you up. Like, the moment it starts, it has this kind of vibe to it, I guess, which should be good. However, I feel like when it kind of releases from its station, you see what I'm doing? Because he's a train. Once he starts going, I feel like it slows. Like the tune, I feel like the tune needs to be faster. Just a little bit faster, like to try and match the intensity that the beginning was really trying to, adhere to. It's just like, we need to keep going. Charge, and keep going because the train's going by and the train's coming after you and all this other stuff. It really has a very adventurous nature for the train setting. Dude is a train. Could easily be a starter tune, but just feel like it had the potential to be just something a little bit better, just a little bit faster and more intense. Because you started off so hard, man. But, just kind of trailed off the wrong track.
I kind of agree. Charge Man was my number 8.
Okay.
It was my last. It did give off that electric vibe, sure. Mm-hmm. But I had a really tough time with this one because, I mean, it did tap, I guess, a good amount the way that it would, I guess, charge up for a few seconds, or like you heard that in the tune, but then I think it was the disconnect with it being on a train and moving over barrels or smoke coming out of his head. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be electricity. It looked like a smoke ball.
It's smoke because he's a big choo-choo.
Okay, well, there's where my disconnect happened. Like, I couldn't understand charge, train, and the tune, because I was like, the tune seemed to match the name until I saw what was actually happening. And so this one, just out of all of them, my brain couldn't make the connection nearly as much between all of the elements put together. Separately seemed to go better than putting them together. Charge Man music, fine. Charge Man music in level, I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I get it.
So this one just didn't land with me for the overall.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it's fine. It's fine. Number 4 is Gyro Man.
Okay.
This is another catchy opening. Feels very relaxing, kind of a mellow track. But not sure that I pictured a trip through the clouds per se, but I kind of see where it fits in a way. This was one of those that was a little hard for me to kind of pinpoint because it was like, I don't really know if... So this is where favoritism kind of took over and it's like, well, so which one do I like a little bit
character.
more? Yeah. So it's middle ground. It's fine. It's not, like I said, relaxing, mellow, a little catchy, but
I put him at 3.
Okay.
And I'm going to choose to call him Euro Man in the off chance I trigger someone, and it's just fun for me. So Euro Man, who probably would have been more tasty in my version, but it felt bright and happy, and I did get the whole floating maybe vibe from it, floating along, having a good time. And it fit pretty well for the graphic. I mean, it was very brightly colored, although again, with a name like Euro Man, not sure what special would be.
I mean, he's got that big propeller on his back. He's just floating about.
I guess I envisioned like gyrating or something, you know? So whatever. I don't know. Maybe it should have landed lower just because like everything in it.
Sure.
But maybe the fact that I just made myself laugh when I was writing it was enough for me to push it up. Like, hey, look how funny I am, even though I'm not expressing all of the different ones right now. But yeah. A happy romp through the clouds worked here.
Okay.
Worked well enough, you know.
I mean, I feel like
now I want a sandwich.
Yeah. There's a
Dude,
you know
that
what?
sauce though.
I'm gonna diverge for a minute, so the tune can play because I probably cut it off early. We found this little restaurant in town, like right down from our house. It's they say it's a Greek joint, but I don't feel like that's what it's meant to be, but he does serve Greek food. So Friday for my birthday, I was hungry, and I was like, I'm going to go get some lunch at this. Check it out. Try it out. Got this gyro plate. Oh, my God. It was so good.
I love gyros. So
It was just, like, it was all the stuff you'd put in a gyro, grilled up, got the tzatziki sauce on it, the feta cheese, and then he serves it with, like, 3 slices of pita bread. You can just, it was good. It was fantastic.
Love it. You don't do the onions?
Oh, no. I did the onions, the mushrooms, the peppers, the whole kit and caboodle.
Nom, nom, nom.
Yeah, it was amazing. Anyway, sorry. Just wanted to bring that up. It was amazing stuff.
So it settled our lunch plans for today, at least. There we go.
But yeah, Gyro Man, Gyro Man. Well, I'd say Gyro Man.
I know that's
gyrating.
What I'm sure it's supposed to be.
Gyros are what we eat. Gyros are what this guy is.
But then he gets so hungry from all the gyrating.
Or whatever. I don't know what it sounds like. Number 3. We're just going to move on.
Just move on, yeah.
Number 3. For me was Gravity Man.
Okay.
The setting somehow feels appropriate to the tune in a way, but I'm not quite sure how to accurately convey gravity in a tune. It sways a bit, which maybe that's what it is. I feel like it's definitely one of the more unique tunes in the series, but again, not necessarily my number 1. So, what about you?
Gravity was 5.
Okay.
I got a nice light feel to it, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from the name and the tune, I could be persuaded that this is in space, you know?
Yeah.
But is that what I was, like, searching for because of the name? I don't know. But the little boogie or breakdown there in the middle was kind of fun, you know? Just that little middle section there. So it was a good toe tapper.
Yeah.
But much to my surprise, it wasn't in space. Or it might be a space station, maybe?
Maybe. Sure.
Okay, so the little trickle effect it has in the beginning worked with the scene, I thought, but it gave me vibes of floating along. But I guess I was expecting outside openness, because the only thing I could think of for the hero for Gravity would be in space, floating, maybe even a flight level, or like we've discussed before, the side scrollers where it's hopping along, or something more light,
right,
where you're going up and not
down.
So, like, I liked the tune just fine. I guess the aesthetic that I was looking to have matched up perfectly just kind of sat in the middle.
Okay.
Like, if I make myself believe it was a space station, then I feel like it hit a little bit better.
Yeah, and it could, because, I mean, where else are you going to defy gravity except in a space station.
I mean, it did have the arrows for going up or down, so maybe that's the thing that pushes you along, like they're moving you through gravity. You know, fine. You know, not having played it, that's what I'm trying to pull from it. And it did look like some of the decorations down there might have been trying to allude to a ship or the connectors or the electricity that would hook it up or, you know, space stuff.
Sure. Space stuff.
So, space stuff.
Space stuff. Number 2 for me, since we've already gotten your number 2.
Yeah, my number 1 and my number 3, I think.
So I guess I can figure out where these go toward the bottom. 6
Got a
and
50-50
7.
chance. Yeah.
Hey, this could match our part 3, at least right here, because everything else didn't match except for the last one. Our number 8 and 2. So let's see if these can match. My number 2 is Napalm Man. That was another action-adventure theme that fits into, I feel like it fits into the jungle scenario quite nicely. Despite having another dour tone like Stone Man, but the energy it's enough to kind of it's convincing and it conveys it well enough so you can kind of overlook it and it's like, all right, I get it. I get what you're doing.
Sure.
So that's where it landed for me.
It was my number 7.
Damn it.
Yeah, with a name like that, I expected bigger, louder, more intense, I guess. Seemed very happy, almost endgamey. Exploration, sure. Like an intro song.
Okay.
Maybe. So when I saw the graphic and how lush and green everything was, in my mind, Napalm Man, I don't know, I was expecting war-torn, maybe not as lush feeling of an environment. Although I could see the hint alluding to it in the skies being orange.
Yeah.
So maybe he has blown things up. Things are on fire. Air quality is crap, you know? So I just don't know how I felt about the matchup with a name like Napalm Man and it being just such a lush green environment that they put him in. That was my biggest disconnect.
Okay.
So the music, sure, I feel like maybe the loud, intense moments to give me that feeling of,
Yeah.
But it seemed to not match up with what I was seeing as much. I don't know.
No, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I know.
Well, then I guess we know.
That's why I still think I should have just maybe done a side one of what just my favorite tune was. If I'm just listening to the tune, don't consider anything else about it other than the song. I bet we might have landed a little bit more
Maybe.
in line.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that being said,
Drum roll.
my number 1 and your number 6 would be Wave Man.
Yes.
This track, to me, is fantastic. Doesn't necessarily fit in with every element of the stage, but it's good enough that it earns a few bonus points for me. In fact, I feel like there's an area of because the visuals that I'm trying to give you the basic rundown of the level as best I can in one shot, and it's not that easy because sometimes it changes up, but what is the most consistent element is what I'm trying to do. Well, with this level, there's a spot where you get into this little I guess, what do you call it, jet speeder that they use on the water or whatnot, and you just plow through a bunch of enemies, and that's just one section, like toward the end. You just get on this little bike and you just drive through, and I feel like that's where it really works for this, but again, it's one small section versus what I showed you as the bulk of that level. So maybe that would have been a better way, but I feel like that's cheating. That's not giving you a full scope of the level. So for me, it's fun, it's catchy, energetic. I feel like it's one of the better tunes in the entire series. I love this tune. I think it's a great addition. Like, this would be in one of my, if I was to do a top 10 of all of these tunes, this could probably wind up in there.
Perfect. I mean, I definitely enjoyed the tune because I can even read my notes here. Happy, bright, the good guy feeling, for sure. Special level, like you could just breeze along without a care in the world, very, very upbeat, happy-go-lucky. But it just didn't seem to match up with what I saw, as much. This one was actually, I think, kind of harder for me to get a grasp on because the song just felt more happy than the circumstances that it seemed that the hero was put in this particular one, which might be why it rated a little lower for me in my head. Like, what does waving do? Pushing waves. I don't know, maybe I was expecting water or something, so yeah, I remembered liking the tune, but it just felt like it was way too happy for what was actually happening on the graphic when I was looking at it. Because this time I challenged myself to restart the song while looking at the graphic too, and seeing if that evoked a different feeling. It was just like, it just feels too happy for what I'm looking at.
Understood.
Yeah.
Because it's become difficult to try and give the best sense of the level and the character, because there's so much to it. But I've got to find the best representation of what it is as a whole, and sometimes it's just not that easy. Now, I feel like if I had given you that strip where he's in the bike and everything like that, you might have seen it a little bit more. Like, you would have shifted your perspective a little bit and said,
maybe, yeah,
I could see that because it's bright and sunny and you see the water and you see everything and you're just like, oh, cool. I get it. I could see this working. But again, it's one strip of the level toward the end. Didn't feel like it did the right representation. But I did consider it for a moment, trying to figure out how to work it in, but I couldn't.
But it has been an interesting experiment going about it in these two different ways, just to see. Curious if other people would have landed about the same way if they were in my position, and not having played them and everything, moving on up.
But, we did even kind of mention this is kind of showing favoritism versus, I guess, structural breakdowns of how... I guess
I don't have any inherent biases towards the game, not having any memories of playing it or being excited about getting a new one or all those new things that would come along with it.
Yeah, this is you making a decision based on the facts you're being presented, the tune that is coming into your head, and how you feel that it's scientific in any way, shape, or form, not emotional, if you really think about it. Data-based.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel like anything that's close or even maybe identical, because we go back to 3, there were at least 2 that we had the same choice on, 4 and 3, they were identical for us. Are we saying that they just kind of work on the emotional and scientific level? Is that, do they connect?
Maybe the ones where we have the most overlap, if we were to do an award.
Yeah.
At the end of this would be the winner, because it would nail it from a player's nostalgia perspective and from somebody who's just looking at what an elevator pitch, I guess, if you will, is what I'm getting. Here's the tune, here's the graphic. How do we work? Yeah,
we may have to consider something, because again, we're nearing the end of this. We got one more next week, and I don't know. We'll have to decide what we're going to do from here on, because I've enjoyed doing this, but some of you out there...
It's been interesting.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So we'll decide. We'll figure it out. We got 2 weeks to figure out. And there may be... I'll talk to you about it after. Anyway, that's our show.
We will. Hey.
Everyone. You can hit us up sometime on Twitter at SuperMegaCrash. Send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram to view our weekly icon art, which I haven't posted. Well, maybe it's posted now. I don't know. You'll find out.
Go see.
Support the show.
Let us know.
Support the show by liking, leaving reviews on your preferred platform, even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions, and tell your friends to search Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play. Google Podcasts. They're changing it. Just so you're aware. I got into a routine. Anyway, Google Podcast, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and even YouTube.com/Pencil Paper Productions. Thank you so much for listening. I am Stephen White.
And I am Lacey Finley.
Join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then, game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.